I went to an art museum which featured a show called Who Shot Rock and Roll? The photographs started in 1955 and continued to the present. Most would be easy to recognize, such as Led Zeppelin's House of Holy, which is a photo manipulation before photo manipulation was a thing. On the back wall, there it was. It made me fall fully and irreparably in love. It was a man with a big nose and pigtails, surrounded by my least favorite color, yellow. It would be the most strikingly profound moment I can recall having. Seeing that image jarred me from reality. Love at first sight does exist, and his name is Frank Zappa. It wasn't just this image I would adore. His mannerisms, his commitment, and his music has me hooked. Many would not share this feeling with me. Some who helped in his recordings would ask for their name to stay out of it. His first album with the Mothers of Invention would have a tag saying, "These people have contributed materially in many ways to making our music what it is. Please do not hold it against them." He would be booed at, kept off the radio, and would have warning labels stamped on his work. The band that Frank Zappa produced his first record with was the Mothers of Invention. The first album will be called Freak Out and was produced by Tom Wilson. It had a stunning debut in 1966. The album was commentary on American pop culture. It would have a stronger impact in the United Kingdom, but had a cult following in America. In 1999, it would be given a place in the Grammy Hall of Fame. Freak Out would also be cited as an influence for the album release Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band by the Beatles in 1967. Zappa would be critical about this news, believing they did it for the money. In return, Zappa would parody this album in his 1986 release of We're Only in It for the Money. Zappa's music pulls from many sources, but culture is always important. His music is widely varying to fit all his needs. Jazz, rock, and orchestra music would be his signature. But he was not beyond using crude sounds such as those from cartoons. Frank Zappa puts all his effort into his music, and his work was treated with the utmost respect. He believes drugs are to be avoided and expects this from all those that work with him. He would, along with his band, practice for many hours for months before going on tour. The mothers would be paid weekly and were signed for a whole year. Even if a member was fired in that year period, they would still receive payment. If Zappa said a person was to be paid for a year, they would, no matter what it would cost Zappa. He was true to his word. The year 1971 would be a great disruption in Frank Zappa's career. On December 4th, a fire at the Meritrex Casino in Switzerland would destroy the band's equipment. Just 6 days later, at the London's Rainbow Theatre, Zappa would be pushed off the stage, resulting in a spinal injury and a crushed larynx. This would lower his voice and resulted in him spending a portion of a year in a wheelchair. He would make his return with his 17th studio album, Overnight Sensation, and his 18th, Apostrophe, which reached number 10 in the charts. They would be recorded at the same time. Accidents wouldn't be Zappa's only trouble. Czechoslovakia was a communist country from 1945 to 1989. His records would never be published here legally. Fans of Zappa would be beaten by secret police. However, Czechoslovakia would elect Václav Havel as president, who would be a longtime fan of Zappa's and would make him a cultural ambassador. Frank Zappa was an extreme advocate of the First Amendment. He would appear in court advocating against advisory ratings on music. He says it creates a stigma for the artist as a person. His Jazz from Hell record would be one of the first with a warning label. Tipper Gore added a parental advisory sticker to the CD for explicit lyrics. The album would have no lyrics. At the same court appearance, it was asked if Zappa denies the benefit of warning labels for things like children's toys. He replied that he didn't need anyone to tell him how smart his children are. Zappa was a strong believer in making your own choices. He wanted parents actively involved in making choices for their children, and not have someone else do it for you. This being said, he was against formal education. He would advocate highly for going to the library and reading books. Self-education is very necessary in Zappa's mind. If you've heard the quote, "So many books, so little time," you're quoting Zappa. Frank Zappa would die in Los Angeles, California, on December 4, 1993, at the age of 52 due to prostate cancer. He would leave behind 4 children, Moon, Dweezil, Ahmet, and Diva. The Rolling Stone magazine will list him at number 71 of the top 100 greatest artists. He released 62 albums in his lifetime, and another 32 after his death, making for a total of 94 albums. For a man who was famous for sitting on a toilet, his influence runs deep.